Hey guys, Andrew here. So today I wanted to take a look at a few first-person video games that I've been playing lately and compare how the act of falling feels in each of them. First of all, let's take a look at falling in a game with no visuals or audio cues or animations and see how that feels. Well, that is pretty boring. If you keep looking up during the fall, you wouldn't even notice that you're falling. Now let's take a look at Satisfactory, which is a game built in the same engine as the bland demo I just showed you. You can see that the player's model enters a specific falling animation as the legs prepare for a landing, and the hands and coffee mug that I have equipped shake constantly during the fall. Something I particularly enjoy about Satisfactory's gravity-defying coffee mug is that you can actually see the coffee inside sloshing around during the fall. It definitely feels better than the demo. The added animations help sell the idea that the player is falling. There is definitely room for improvement, don't get me wrong, but keep in mind that Satisfactory takes place on an alien planet with a much weaker gravity, so falling here might feel lighter by design. In Apex Legends, you can hear the wind swooshing past your body as you fall. It gets louder and louder as you approach terminal velocity. There is a loud thump when you reach the ground, as well as your character doing a groan indicating that the fall puts some amount of stress on you. On top of this, your movement speed is also reduced for a few moments, helping sell the idea that your character just fell from a considerable height and needs time to recover. The camera also sways towards the ground. If you have a weapon equipped, you'll notice that it's kept stable for most of the jump. As you hit the ground and the camera begins to sway to show the effects of the impact, the weapon is kept centered at all times. You can also notice a bit of fabric on the character flapping in the wind as you fall. The screen also jitters by a very small amount. It's really subtle, but it's there. You can definitely feel the difference in the way these two games handle falling. You can argue Apex is a competitive and a fast-paced game, so it ought to feel a lot juicier to play than Satisfactory. In Battlefield 1, the hands of the player are put in front of the camera, mimicking a more natural falling pose. You can hear wind swooshing all around you, almost drowning out all other audio in the game, which is kinda true. Wind is quite noisy, especially when you're falling at terminal velocity. There is considerable camera shake as you fall, a lot more noticeable than in Apex Legends. An interesting addition is the shaking of the compass minimap in the lower left corner. It jitters violently as you fall, and it seems to be the only HUD element in the game that shakes when you fall, making the whole thing feel even better. Another cool detail is that your vision gets drastically reduced as you fall. You'll notice a dark circular gradient around the screen that slowly gets more visible as you approach the ground. This makes falling feel dangerous for a good reason, since in Battlefield 1 there is considerable fall damage, so it makes sense for the developers to add visual cues to let the players know that this is not a survivable fall. Falling from a shorter distance is more similar to how Apex handles its falls. The character grunts when he jumps, and grunts even louder and with a lot more pain when he lands, indicating health loss. There is a loud thump when you reach the ground, as well as a distinctive metallic sound made by your clothes and equipment. The character enters a falling animation as it prepares to land, and I was only able to trigger this once, but sometimes the character takes his left hand off the weapon as he falls. Most of the time, he keeps it on the weapon though. Compared to Apex, instead of having the whole camera sway as you land, only the player model sways up and down, and the camera stays still. Battlefield 1 also offers players an option to reduce certain camera shakes in the game. In Overwatch, the whole player model shakes violently as you fall. The weapon is kept in the center at all times. There is a small amount of camera shake and some sound, although it is much less powerful than the ones in Apex or Battlefield. One reason for this might be that Overwatch players rely on sound to know when certain abilities are used in the game. In my opinion, Overwatch has the most satisfying landing out of all the games I've talked about in this video, and you don't even need to see it to understand why. Just listen to it. A grunt from the character, a considerable amount of camera shake, and a very, very distinctive sound made when you hit the ground. But the most important of all, and something that I wish more games would do, is the HUD shake, which is one of the reasons falling and landing in Overwatch feels so good. If you look closely, you'll notice that it is not random at all, and the HUD will shake in a precise manner every single time you jump or fall. Having the HUD shake as something happens is definitely a very good way in making the player feel immersed, and it's interesting to see how the developers of Overwatch and Apex chose to handle such effects, since too much of it might interfere with a person's aim. Overwatch also offers the options to reduce camera shakes or completely remove the HUD shake, for example, from the game if you feel like it interferes too much with the gameplay, but in my opinion, it complements it beautifully. So, do you enjoy having these effects in first-person games, or do you feel that they take away from the core gameplay? Do you enjoy these kinds of details the developers put in to make you feel more immersed, or do you think that their time is better spent elsewhere? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you later. Peace.